Okay, we're recording now. So, welcome everyone to our webinar with My Footprint and Julio Quintana, who is the founder. Julio, I'll pass it over to you because you have a lot of exciting things to share with us, and we're all looking forward to hearing about it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lucy. So, hi everyone. My name is Julio Quintana. I'm one of the founders of My Footprint. And basically, what I'd like to share to you today is some knowledge about sustainability and give you some insights into how SMEs can fight climate change. So I'll walk you through the platform and I'll show you a case study on how we're working with an SME to do this. And last thing, of course, if we can have a little discussion, it will be fantastic. So I'll start the presentation with this little analogy of a bathtub. And I don't know if you have any ideas or what does this have to do with climate change. Because if you want to just comment, say something, it would be great.
Sorry, say that again. Just say that what you just asked again.
Yes, if you have any ideas of what this picture has to do with climate change.
We're all adding to
for the reasonable waste of water.
So we're adding into the bathtub. The way that is, we have a carbon budget. So the Earth has a carbon budget, and the bathtub represents basically the amount of carbon we can store. Right? Earth can absorb the carbon. Basically, it acts like a drain, and what we have is a water tap running. And this is a problem, right? The water tap is putting more water into the bathtub than it can actually be drained. So it's getting full. And this is the concept of climate change. It's all around us. Everyone is talking about it. And what is happening is that we're very close to hit one important threshold that is the 1.5 degrees. So now in the UK, the COP26 is on the way. And we are raising awareness, and it seems like a challenge, right? You get the impression sometimes that it's only governments and big companies that can do something about this, but not only companies and governments can do something. It's also ourselves, like our SMEs, our companies. And we do some, why other companies do something about this? Well, first of all, because we need this, right? And also because people care about this and it's good for business. I'll give you some examples. So 50% of customers are happy to pay more for sustainable products. Around 70% of employees are happy to work with climate-friendly companies that they represent and with their values. And talking about investment, lots of money is being poured into companies that are have green ambitions, and of course regulation, right? So we're transitioning into this new economy where carbon is very, very important to reduce it, and governments are setting ambitious targets. I would like to show some examples in detail. So regarding the customers, I'll put this example of Adidas. They announced a partnership in 2015 on producing sneakers made out of recycled plastic in this partnership with Parley. So 2 years after they announced this, they were selling around 1 million stickers that were made with recycled plastic. And last year, after 5 years of partnership, they already sold 30 millions. So what I want to show with this is that companies that are communicating their efforts in a transparent way are being rewarded by customers. On another, I'll talk a little bit about Patagonia. So this company, they've been doing sustainable and responsible businesses decades before us thing, and today they became a benchmark. It has created so much ethos that the CEO shared not long ago that for every job post they offer, they get around 9,000 applications. And it's not only this, it's also the retention, right? Companies that are doing something for the environment, they are retaining employees. And well, that's very important as well. If we talk about funding, so investment into startups has grown 9 times in the last 5 years, from 2 billion to 17 billion according to Bloomberg. Also, investors globally are putting more money into sustainable investment. One example is millennials inheriting wealth and reinvesting this into clean companies. And also even big investors like BlackRock, which is the biggest investment fund, they are completely adapting their investment strategy to focus on green investments. And for the last big example, it's about government. So the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they told us last year, all of us, so humankind, that we have 10 years to reduce drastically emissions to hit the 1.5 degrees target of increasing global temperature. 3 days ago, the Guardian published an article that we were on track, not to hit 1.5, but to hit 2.7, which is 2 times what it should be doing. Of course, governments are noticing this and they are setting targets. The UK has a net zero target by 2050. SMEs will be covered by this regulation soon. So it's really important to be prepared. And with this, I mentioned a very important concept, which is net zero. And well, what is net zero? Why is it so important? And why we have to stick to this? If I bring back the bathtub analogy, basically, net zero means stopping the water tap, right? And is it 2030 good? Is it 2050 good? Well, there's a strategy to follow, right? What I can tell you is that the goal depends definitely on the company. We have to be ambitious, but it has to also be reachable. And one thing is that it's not possible to just do it overnight. You might have heard that planting trees is a solution. It's not only about that; it's about changing how we do our processes and innovating. So planting trees, while it's certainly good, is not the way out. What we need to do is create a reduction plan and adjust how we are doing the things. So of course, with this in mind, the question is, how can we become net zero? How can SMEs become net zero? And well, these are the 5 steps that can help you become net zero. The first one is to collect data. It's already across your organization. And the important thing is to gather it and centralize it. We need to calculate what are the carbon emissions, right? Using protocols, using standards to be able to measure it and then reduce it. Once you have a clear picture of your organization, then you can create a reduction plan, which is step 3. And then you can have actions to implement. Here you'll set a net zero target, a year, for example, 2030, 2032, and you start reducing. There's a portion that you cannot reduce by only actions, so then you can offset. And for this percentage, what you can do is go into projects. I will show this a little bit later. And the last thing, of course, is to communicate, right? You have to communicate the efforts that you're doing. So do you have any ideas on how do you get started in these 5 steps? Any suggestions?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm interested to know, when you say collect data across your organization, how do we do that?
Okay, so I'll go back into this one in a moment, but there are 3 ways. Okay, basically you can do some manual input, you can answer some questionnaires, or there's an automated collection. I'll dive into this a bit more. I don't know if you have any other question or comment or like an idea on how to start on this. Huh?
In my sector, construction, there's it's very difficult to get reliable data on the embodied carbon in various materials, various construction materials, and so it's a really, really imprecise science. So I'm interested to know if there's any more sort of precise data available.
Yes, so depending on the industry, of course, there are different ways to collect the data. We have to go into understanding what is the trade, and then we can improve the collection of the data as well, and the reliability. I'll explain how we do the collection, and I will try to relate it to also.
Thank you.
So to start with, I have here on the next slide just a little suggestion, right? So it's very easy to get started. You can just hire a consultant and have them do everything for you. They will, of course, charge you a lot of money, spend quite some time with you, building a complex plan. But of course, this is what big companies do. And we're not talking here about big companies, we're talking about SMEs. And we have to focus on our core, right? On our product and our service. Whether it's a scale-up or an SME, it's difficult to just go and find the time and find the money for these kind of projects. But what about a digital solution, right? That it's, of course, easy to use. It's user-friendly by anyone at the company. It's affordable. That we know that every company has to do this, and we need to do it very, very fast. So we should all have access to a solution like this for a fair price. And of course, it has to be automated. Dom, I think it's what you were asking a little bit about data collection, reliability, and so on. Automation is very important, and then of course the data quality as well. So a digital solution like this will have consultants probably not very happy, and we have this little image. So Alexis, my co-founder, and myself, we had these 3 points in mind: easy to use, affordable, and automated when we started building my footprint. So I'll show you now some of the features covering these 5 points that my footprint platform has, which are collect data, the carbon balance, the third one, the reduction roadmap, the offsetting, and of course, sharing the progress. So in this slide, what you can see is part of the footprint dashboard. But we want you is to be on top of your data, because then we can transform this into emissions for you to see what is the impact. Going back to how we collect it, there are 3 ways. The first one is a simple questionnaire where after 10 questions, we get an accuracy of, let's say, around 80% of what could be representing a real number. The second option will be manual input, where you can go and say, okay, I have this specific data point and I can enter it. And the third one is automation, right? If you connect to some data sources, like accounting data, then we can read this and categorize it. Regarding the reliability and the accuracy, there we use lists of data of emission sources where we can relate one data point with how much intensity of carbon it's emitting, whether it's in pounds or it's in units like kilowatt hours or tons of material. So we have lists that they cover different years and many different industries that we can use to make this calculation. So that will definitely help with reliability and accuracy. Once we have the data, the platform will follow the ISO standard 14000 and the greenhouse gas protocol, because what my footprint stands for is transparency and credibility. One of the things that we always have as a question is how we as a company avoid greenwashing, and we definitely do it using this kind of tools, of data, of emission sources, and of protocols. And there are some technical concepts throughout the platform that we do is add some info boxes to help understand what is each of these things. The next section will be the roadmap. So basically, we crunch some numbers and we build algorithms that what they do is put together a roadmap, help the company put together a roadmap containing a series of actions. And the idea is that you can choose the action, see what will be the impact if you implement it, and the different implementation horizons. We understand that not everything can be done in, let's say, the short term, right, in the next couple of months. Because going net zero, it's a long-term process. So we have short, medium, and long-term implementation horizons and many actions. But it's very important about the roadmap is to keep track of the progress. Right? It's not only, okay, I want to implement this, but it's when will it become a reduction and when you are going to see it. The next section, it's about the offsetting. So there's a portion of the emissions that cannot be reduced today, even through the actions. Why? Because of several reasons. It has to do with the process of the company, and throughout the journey towards net zero, there are more ways that we can find to actually reduce that. And in the meantime, what can be done is to offset. Basically, offset means supporting projects that, as I said in the beginning, you can plant trees, but there are other ways as well, like support community projects or, let's say, wind power in also developing countries, where the money creates an offsetting, so a compensation of your emissions in the UK or in the country that you trade. What we offer is different projects that are certified by VCS and Gold Standard, which are the 2 highest certifications available, and they ensure that the money is actually going to the project and fulfilling some criteria. And the last section, it's about share and collaborate. We really believe that a transformation of a company into net zero, it's not only top down. And it's very, very important to engage stakeholders. And well, of course, the most valuable stakeholder we all have are our employees. So the platform builds and helps you create a dedicated website that you can use to share internally with employees or also outside. So you can put it on the footer of your website, for example, and make it public. And the idea is that this is a tool of communication. There's also a discussion board where the employees can share ideas on how to reduce and take action, and some recognition tools to empower employees and congratulate them on those who have done like a great job. And there's one last thing that we built not long ago, which was the Slack integration or Teams integration, which is connecting the platform to your communication tool. This is very useful with companies to engage employees. So I showed you the features of the platform. The next thing that I would like to do is show you how we do this with a scale-up. So I'll introduce this company. They are a London-based scale-up. They are in the education sector, and they are present in 35 cities around the world. And they came to us with a problem. They said, okay, we have students, we have employees, and they're constantly asking that what are we doing into sustainability? How are we helping the environment? They were a bit lost into that. And their ambition is to become the most sustainable coding school in the world. So the way that we're helping them is throughout these 5 points. The first thing that they did was create a 5-employee dream team. It's based on voluntary participation, and one of the members, she decided to become the climate champion of the company. She dedicates around 1 hour per month to be on top of the project. She basically uses the platform to understand where they are and what to do next. We help them identify hotspots. Hotspots, by that we mean what are the highest culprits of emissions. And we identify with them that traveling, utility bills, and office supplies were the highest emitters, and we can focus into that. Then they selected, so the employees selected 26 actions. It's very interesting because not all the actions were suggested by us. So we suggested 22, but 4 of them, they came directly from employees. They got together and they said, okay, we know the company, we can do these 4 things on top. Some are very transversal to the organization. Some are just specific to one department, like marketing. And what we helped them with, in the case of these extra 4 actions, was to quantify the potential in CO2 tons of reduction. In the first year of implementation, they are already hitting 20% reduction versus the base year. And we forecast that by the 3rd year, they will be already reducing 40%. And now they have their website that they use to share this time with employees what they are doing. So they're very proud of the transformation they're having, and we're quite in close contact. So of course we are also very proud that they are doing this. And well, with this, I want to thank you, and of course, thanks Susie and Zyla for the opportunity to share this with you. And I don't know if you have any questions. I'll be very happy to take them.